Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. Guys, I'm sorry last week that I didn't get to join you out there in California. The internet service out there is like beyond ridiculous, okay? For us to be living in a day and age where that we've got space age technology and all this stuff supposedly and satellites in space, internet service is still a long way off. Just saying. So I got two things I want to talk about today. Miss Nikki's going to join me here in a little bit to chat with you today. But two things I want to talk to you about is you are not alone in life. Okay, you're not alone as a believer. I want to go over that because I got a chance to hang out with a friend of mine, Matt, out there in California. It really was a blessing to me, and also the second thing I want to talk about is being free from bondage. And when I'm talking about that, that's like a dual two-sided coin thing. Like, not only I'm talking about sin, but I'm talking about, financial and this Babylonian, Illuminati, Freemasonry ran corporate greed world that we're stuck in current. So anyway, first thing about you're not alone. I went while I was out there in California. I stopped off in Bakersfield and visited with Matt, a believer and friend of mine. And it's great to always talk to you guys face to face whenever possible. That's just how I roll. And whenever, hey, shalom, hey everybody. I'm seeing your comments. I'm just trying to keep my mind focused here at the moment. So anyway, when I sit down at the coffee shop and talked with Matt, me and him went back and forth about a lot of things, discussion, especially about new moon, because that's something I have been working hard at that lately, focusing on, paying attention to between the time frame of the first visibility of the first visible crescent to the first quarter, as opposed to doing it from dawn after conjunction. And I have noticed consistently that dawn after conjunction, it does bring the end of the week's in line, just like Philo, just spoke of. And so I'm telling you, as much as I want to look for that visible sign, I still, at the end of the day, dawn after conjunction to me just seems the most plausible thing, even though I want to look for the first visible crescent. But anyway, me and Matt went back and forth about a lot of things, discussing a lot of things, and it is so nice to sit and talk with a fellow believer, whether it's here or clean across the world or whatever. And I know his thoughts was the same as mine. Is whenever you, hey Shane, what's up, brother? Is whenever you start your journey out of Babylon, the first thing that all of us do is we start looking for other people. And I think it's a two-sided coin. Is the one is it's like, I don't want to be alone. The second thing is there people that really believe this? And then you start figuring out real quick, oh yes, there's people who believe this, and they know the same information as you, arrived at it from completely different angles than you did probably. And yeah. And hey sis. And so it just, to me, the more that you come across those people, it reinforces in your mind that you're not alone. And I think that's why, like, I asked Matt, I said, Matt, are you going to come to the thing that we're doing for Feast of Tabernacle? You want to join me, Miss Nikki? You want to hang on until a little while?
All you can see is the dog fit.
Yeah. Let me get this where we can get us both in here. Miss Nikki's sat down with me now. And so anyway, while we were at the coffee shop, I was talking to Matt, asking him if he was going to come out to Feast of Tabernacles this fall, and he said, yeah, man, he's going to try his best, because when a complete stranger opens the door to their home to invite them to fellowship with them, you got to take advantage of that opportunity. And I felt that made me feel good inside, that that people from afar off have that desire to come together one with another. And so anyway, I don't want you to go through life thinking that you're all by yourself, because I tell you, I stand in a room full of people, and I'm going to make this really short, a couple more minutes, and then go on to what the one thing that I really want to hammer on today. But this was something on my mind that I didn't get to, while I was working out in California, just want to share with you, is that I don't know how many days I go through life that I'll stand in a crowded room of people, and I take a look down at my zit, and I look around, and I'm the only joker in the room that seems to care about doing the right thing, and that cares about doing the Ten Commandments and that cares about honestly doing what Scripture says. And I don't really know how to make you feel better inside about it. We are scattered very, very, very far apart, those that are believer in the Most High, because Christianity's everywhere. True servants of the Most High Yahuwah is fine gold, and it's rare, because everybody's Christian. Heck, I seen the other day where that apparently the United Methodist Church, y'all got a transgender pastor now. So yeah, let me know how that works out for you. So anyway, that to me is beyond abomination, but everybody don't understand when you say I'm a Christian, you're in association with all these people. When you say you're a servant of the Most High Yahuwah, and you keep His commands, and you keep His new moons and His Sabbaths and His appointed times, and you do all these things that's completely radical to the church house, that's when people know that you're walking in the light. And that's when also, when you get near other people, the ones that are the true servants of the Most High, and for sure you're not alone. Dreeny has to just be close to us. I've had this dog for, how old is this dog? 11 years old? Maybe 12?
12.
She is so loyal. Somebody tried to break in our house a long time ago, and she ran and got Nikki and let her know that somebody was trying to rob us. And Nikki was able to get to the door in time before they got it kicked in or whatever. I love that little dog. She's so loyal. So anyway, I got some scriptures queued up because our internet's messed up. Hey, there's Russell. How does my head feel? Okay, let me tell y'all a story. Let me tell all y'all a story. Hey, Russell, Margaret, love you guys. My head is a lot better today, but there is like this. Where's that, Nikki? It's like, yeah. Oh, easy. Yeah, it's still like a little egg spot. But while I was out in California working, okay, for the customer out there, I got everything completely done. I always wear my personal protective equipment. I'm always safe. I mean, we were working on the edge of a cliff. I mean, just like, I go above and beyond to make sure not only myself, but everybody around me is safe on job site. I came back to the hotel that night. I got in the shower. I was standing in the shower, and I just leaned over against the wall. Just, because when I take a shower, that's like my contemplating the world, my time to just zone out in Luke land. And so I'm leaning against the shower, and the next thing you know, it's almost like somebody just chopped my feet out from under me. And I fell, and I hit my head on the tile. Then I hit my elbow on the basin. Then I hit my head on the back. Dude, I'm telling you guys, it was just like bam, 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 bam. And finally, I hit bottom. And I'm telling you, I've never been so close to like blacking out in my entire life. And I flailed around for a minute, and I finally got my arms over the side of the shower and my head over the side, and I'm like, Nikki. And she's like, what? And so finally she come in there and see what was going on, and I'm like, didn't split my head open, did I? And so anyway, she figured out that, I was all right and all, and they didn't have to take me to the hospital. But, man, I'm telling you guys, that's why you got to be ready to go, because people's all the time like, oh, it's not going to happen to me today. Dude, you can die today. You can walk out your door and have a heart attack and die today. I'm telling you, folks, like all these people, it's like, well, I'm not going to meet the Most High today. Well, you might want to rethink that, because just when you think it ain't coming, that's when it can happen. Okay, so I'm reading y'all's comments, guys. I promise I'm not ignoring. That's good stuff. So anyway, thankfully, Seven Trumps Prepper is still alive. Otherwise, Miss Nikki'd probably have to be cashing in the insurance policy right now to finish Tiny House out, because the work crew would be gone. So anyway, all right. Anything you want to share today, Miss Nikki, before we go through? All right. It's always nice to have Miss Nikki with me. Being free from bondage, something I want to talk about. You never know when a Mack truck will run you over. That's right, my goodness, and run you over and pull up and back up on you again. Oh dear. So anyway, something that everybody that I talk with, especially over the past, I would say ever since I've left Babylon, one reoccurring thing that we've all discussed, all my friends, whether Hebrew Israelite, blood descendants, Abraham, or whether they're Gentile, such as myself, converted over to serve the Most High. Being free from sin And being free from bondage of the world, it seems like it's a twofold thing, because we can't really be free from sin at times because we're still stuck in the bondage of, like, for example, my buddy wants to keep Sabbath really badly. But because of his ex-wife being a very wicked woman. Now, I'm not just saying because she's his ex-wife. Like, dude, she was wicked before she's his ex-wife. Wouldn't you agree with that, Ms. Nigga? Yeah, I mean, it was bad. So, because of that now, he's been put into slavery mode and bondage because she bleeds him out for funds. And if he don't work, and it ends up being on Sabbath too, then he's going to end up not only being in bad shape, but going to jail. So, you know, me and him was talking about the struggle the other day. And that's what I'm getting at, is with, you know, downsizing your life with, like, a tiny house and a little tiny piece of land and having everything off grid. Like, this has been the redesign that we've been doing here with our family and at our home, is because eventually my day will come. That ticket will get punched if I don't get off the train now. Yes, that's exactly right, Julie. When you try to be free from sin, seems the world tries to chase you down. I told Nikki on the way home, hey, Amanda, I'm going to holler at you in a little bit. Whenever you get, I told her, I said, as soon as we get home, we've got to go like that to get the rest of our preps done and our homestead done, because it'll just come down like a hammer. And, as you start to, the more you try to break free of Babylon, the worse that it will get. Which also tells you you're always going in the right direction, okay? Now, I'm going to read scripture with this in a minute to just point to you where I'm going with this. But this is the thing that everyone needs to be working on right now. You know, when I spoke with Ron the other day, which I need to give Ron a call back, it's so many of y'all guys that tried to holler at me while I've been going to work, and I'm so sorry. I've been out in the middle of nowhere. Ron and me were talking about that, you know, you see all these true Hebrew Israelites on the street preaching to the world about how the white man's Esau, which any well-trained Hebrew Israelite that has woke up knows that we're not. We're actually seed of Japheth. But if those same people are out there on the street corner preaching to the world, hey, you need to be getting prepared for 7 trumpets Revelation, what a reaping of a harvest that would be. Well, the same thing goes for the Gentile too, though. It seems to me, though, when the Gentile comes into the knowledge of the truth, you know, it seems to me that cutting away of Babylon doesn't happen quick enough. Like, it needs to be swift. It needs, you know, it's like, look, my mom and dad's going to sell me out. Fine, you're cut off. My wife's going to sell me out. Fine, you're cut off. My friends, these X, Y, and Z, they're going to cut me off or sell me out one day, cut them off. You know, it's got to be the cutting off of people. Then it's got to be the cutting off of Babylon. Then it's got to be the cutting off of anything else that's physically going to impede you. Okay? And so, with that said, I want to read these scriptures to you. And sorry, our internet service is messed up. I did see the Flat Earth billboard. Guys, if you have not seen it, there is a video on it now too, apparently. That the video, that somebody wrote, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think the billboard, it was just 4 words on it. It said, the earth is flat. Or research flat earth or something like that. I seen it the other day, a picture of it. Somebody shared it to Facebook, but it was huge. I mean, like, no space was wasted. I almost think of that, was it Jurassic Park? What was the guy on Jurassic Park? John Hammond? Spare no expense.
I have no clue. You all watch that.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to read some scripture to you real quick. That I'm not going to read anything of Paul's writings, because I know there's a lot of people that we all love each other and we talk a lot on this channel, but y'all are anti-Paul as it gets, okay? So I'm not going to go there today, okay? I'm not stirring the pot today because I don't really feel that good either, and I don't want to get nobody angry. So John 8:36 says, so if the Son sets you free, you'll be free indeed. All right? Moving on. Psalms, I will walk about in freedom. Now here's why, okay? Comma. For I have sought out your precepts. Those of us that truly desire to walk in his commands, I really believe he'll make a way for us. He has made a way for me to flee. Now, it's my point in time now that I've got to do like Noah and finish my ark and get ready for the rain to come. Now, it's not going to be another flood, but I'm just saying, I equate my tiny house to the days of Noah. You know, that's my little ark of refuge to get away, okay? When hard pressed, I cried to Yahuwah. He brought me into a spacious land. If we literally start separating from Babylon, I truly believe that the Most High is going to put you in a safe place. I really believe that, because I'm telling you, while I was out in California, I walk through all these people, and it's an ungodly land. It's an ungodly place, full of unrighteousness, abomination, homosexuality, transgenderism. Not everybody, but I mean, it's just full of this mess when you go into big cities. Like San Francisco, for example, went right through there. And I'm thinking to myself while I'm there that when the 7 trumpets of Revelation hit, these people, a lot of them, it is going to finally arrest their attention. The problem is when it does, this is at the end of the chain, and you're not going to have a lot of opportunity to get prepared, as opposed to those that love the Most High that have took the opportunity to get prepared. All right, moving forward. Here we go. Sorry. 1 Peter 2:16. Live as free people, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as Elohim's slaves. Okay? Now, this is where I'm going with this. Render to Caesar that which is Caesar's. All right? I got to pay my taxes, and I'm going to do what I have to the point that I'm not going to go to jail. But as far as building my little tiny house and doing anything I need to protect and shield my family later on, dude, I'm fully committed to breaking the law now if needed. Nikki gets on to me all the time. There's this, what is that speed limit sign in town? It says, 30 mile an hour? It goes from like abruptly 45 to 30. I will drive to the last second, and then I'll hit my brakes when it gets to the 30, and then I'll roll on through at 30.
You do it on purpose.
I do it on purpose. And we should have a defiant heart in us right now, to the point that you only obey the laws of man to the point where that they need to be. For example, you have to buy a fishing permit to go fishing, right? But yet we already pay taxes for the land. Why do I need to pay a fishing permit? Why do I have to get a permit to catch rainwater from the sky? Are you Elohim? No, you don't own me. So put a rain barrel out there. This is what I'm getting at, guys, is the scripture plainly teaches that the Most High is above all. And we really only owe allegiance and obedience to his laws and his Torah, and all man's laws should be based upon his Torah anyway. So at that point, did you this? But were you both on track? It's a good question. The tiny house. We've always pretty much been on the same page about the tiny house from the get-go, haven't we?
Other than the toilet and the ladder.
Yeah, other than just a few things about the tiny house, yeah. But I mean, like, I guess our mentality was we're not wealthy people. So, we had to think of something that was going to be, like, we wanted a home. We didn't want an RV. We didn't want, help me, Nikki, what's that other thing? A camper? Yeah, RV camper. We didn't want something like that. We wanted a home that one day when we had to sacrifice and say, this is it. We're going to have to walk away from this. We would have something to go to. Because, guys, our house actually almost burned down a while back. And the capacitor burned up in our AC unit. And it just so happened Nikki was here and was able to put the fire out. It almost burned our house down. So we were almost homeless not long ago. And I say homeless because the tiny house wasn't into the completion phase. Like, we could move into it right now. It'd be a little weird, but we could move into it right now. And so, I mean, we've pretty much been on that same page as pertaining to that question there that you asked. Well, Jennifer, here's the deal about persuading people. The way I look at things with Nikki is I've always come to Nikki and been like, and you chime in on this, Nick, because I don't want to just put words in your mouth. I've always come to Nick and been like, what do you think about this? Because if we do this, this may be beneficial in the end run. Is that pretty much how I've always approached things with you?
Well, normally me and you are on the same page. I mean, we don't do something unless we both.
Yeah, I mean.
We usually have the same likes, interests, and if not, we discuss it and find out if it's something we both want and then go from there.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's something that I may not exactly, but to get us. Well, the way that I would approach that is if you wanted the tiny house and say your spouse didn't at the moment. What I would always do is I always try to approach things with the pros before I go into the cons. Because, I mean, you can get into a lot of cons real quick with a tiny house. Tiny space, limited with everything. You can only do so much. But then I go into the pros of this. If I needed to hook to that one day in a really bad pinch and say the government of Satan Incorporated comes to take my additional piece of land, I can hook to that and go. And I actually can camp in the national park for 2 weeks at a time, or national forest, and then only have to move at X amount of space, and then I can, stay put again. So, like, which who knows, laws probably passed about that to persecute believers and everything else. But, I mean, like, there's so many pros with the tiny house thing. You could, you can always start with the pros and be like, look, this is why I think. And then that's always the most persuasive thing to me, because Nikki will always come to me and be like, hey, you need to check this out. And that's usually all it takes for me, is just for her to say, hey, just check this out. Because from there, I usually start investigating, and I come back to her and I'm like, hey, this is good stuff. Or, hey, well, what do you think about doing it this way? But usually we don't have to beat each other over the head with something. There's only been a couple times that I think that situation arose, and it's not because that she wanted her way or I wanted it my way. It's just because of the urgency of the situation to go on foot. And yeah, I agree with you, Russell. I think that eventually, there's homeless people in my town, and I've stopped and checked on them a couple times in the past.
But they never want anything.
And they never want anything. Yeah. I mean, I've gave them stuff. Like
We've
in the
given them
wintertime.
jackets.
You name it. And dude, like, I mean, if they wanted to go out and work in the field with us, I'd get them some time out in the field if they wanted to work. But they literally prefer that life. Now, I mean, I'm not making this up. Am I making this up? Like, we'll talk to them because what was the thing? The washer over here tore up. I've got to haul it off. We got the new one. And we go to the laundromat. A lot of times in the wintertime, the guys would go into the laundromat and sit, and we'll have conversations with the homeless in the laundromat. And, if we got food, a lot of people in town, they go to the laundromat often. They'll get like a pizza or something, or people bring food in there and share with them and talk to them. And anyway, the homeless people have a policy: is they know multiple places of refuge they can go to. So, like, if the laundromat's closed, they won't freeze to death tonight. The barbershop guy would let the one guy stay in the back of his barbershop, because it's also security for his place, because he knew that while that guy was there, he always takes care of his place for him. So, like, I think we've got to adopt a policy like the homeless, that, you come to the conclusion where it's like, okay, if today I have to sleep in the woods, tomorrow there's this culvert in town. I know that's, guys, I just feel like at the end of the day that you're patiently waiting to be in poverty. As you're serving the Most High, because the world will hate us. I mean, the world hates you now. It just hasn't gotten to the point where it can do the terrible things of the Renaissance and Middle Ages to you, baby.
So, Drina,
I love you, Drina. I love you, Drina. You want love today. And so, anyway, I want to read you one more verse out of this. This is Luke 4:18, and I think this is where that Messiah stood up in the congregation there and read that passage out of Isaiah, and it says, the Spirit of Yahuwah is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoner and recovery of sight for the blind, and to set the oppressed free. The only people that can help you be free is you yourself in the end, okay? There's lots of people come along the way say, like the people I wouldn't work for, they didn't know how to do solar and stuff, so I wouldn't help them along the way. I don't know how to do air conditioning. Friends of mine's helped me in the air conditioning. There's going to be a lot of people, come along through the path of you making that plunge toward freedom, that's going to be there to help you here and there along the way. But the only people that can honestly help you is yourself. At the end of the day, I always go back to the fact that I am alone in life. Now, I know Nikki's right beside me, but I always have to go. I mean, every one of us need to live this mentality, is that at the end of the day, all I have is the Most High and myself. Because I'm going to tell you, I am only one bad decision away from sin. Every person that's watching this, every person that's listening to this right now, and myself included, we're always just one decision away from sin. And, hey, Miranda. And I always keep that in the back of my mind. And when the time comes for persecution, like I worked for this film company. Now, I can't talk about this in depth, but I worked for this film company doing some construction. And ended up, some friends of mine went with me to do this job. And so anyway, one of my friends stabbed me in the back. Okay, if you're looking to studying Hebrew, I tell you the first thing I would do is get E-Sword. He's still. Okay, Ethan, give me just a second. I'll answer that. The answer to the first question somebody had real quick. I'm gonna take a pause a second, answer some of these questions. The same. The Hebrew study tool. I would download eSword. It's a great app, and it's free on the computer. It costs on the phone. Is from best of my knowledge. Now, the I don't know really, honestly, the best Hebrew study tool, because now I went to Foreign Language Academy in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'd actually drive like, how long was that drive? It was about an hour drive from here, ain't it?
Yeah, but you always left from work.
Yeah, but I mean, like if I had to drive straight, it's about an hour.
From here,
So,
it was about an hour and a half.
so if you check around, like if you're near a large city, there's usually language schools that's private for the public, and you can go. I would truly encourage you to do that, because I got more value and substance. And actually, my study book is in my office. I'll have to get the book, guys. The next live Sabbath, or go over that. Also, we need to talk about dawn starting the day instead of at night. Dusk, dawn till dusk as a day, because I promised I'd do that a while back, and I haven't done that yet. But anyway, the next question somebody had is Ethan asked how to approach his uncle, because that I guess he is still in S-Day church. Me and Brian was talking about this the other day. People ask me to go to SUN Day church with them often, especially because they know I don't go anymore. So I've started this thing. Now, this doesn't apply to your situation, Ethan, but I just want to share this with folks. I started this thing where that if you ask me to go to church with you, the first thing I ask is, will you take me to dinner afterwards? Will you buy me lunch afterwards? And you might say, well, what in the world does that have to do anything? Yeah, I'm 504. I'll answer that in just a second. Is whenever they say yes, then I've hooked them. It's because I lay in on them. Then I'm like, no, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. Today is your Sabbath. You want me to go to church with, but yet as soon as church is over, you want me to leave, travel, buy and sell, force someone else to labor, and profane your Shabbat, right? And so then I've hooked them, and it starts a process of making them stop in their tracks and acknowledge that there is something seriously jacked up with how that they keep their Sabbath, right? But if you, in your situation, Ethan, what I would tell him, as far as getting to leave Babylon, is that I would present to anybody that says in the SUN Day church. The first thing I'd present to them is, how have you come to this conclusion that this is Sabbath? And if this is Sabbath, then how in the world does all the other 10 commandments apply, but yet the only one that says remember, the solemnity of it has been transferred, because the only thing you have to go on is the Roman calendar and the fact that the man of sin says that that's their day, their mark of authority. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, it's all going to come down to worship with the mark of the beast. World's Last Chance says that. Anybody that really is studying in Scripture has come out of Babylon. They say that. I mean, listen, there's all sorts of control measures, but at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to worship. I know ex-pastors, I know pastors by the clump, that they know the truth, okay, but they love their JC, and they love their false Sabbath on the Roman calendar, and they love all this mess, and they act like they're the best Christians ever and the most righteous bunch ever. But in the end, they're just nothing but ungodly, unrighteous people. And they're leading the sheep astray. And the only way you're going to free yourself from this is to get somebody else to look at, it's just like deprogramming from NASA. You have to get people to look at NASA themselves and be like, look at their own lies that they can caught. I mean, like, show them the pictures of the earth from like the 60s forward and ask them which one is the real world we live in, because every one of them's different. It's amazing how much our world changes every year when NASA takes a picture, because apparently America, she's that big, then she's that big, then she takes up the whole blue marble. You know what I'm saying? Like, turn people's attention to what they've already been believing, because when I left Babylon, all I had to do was look at the church's doctrines and then look at the Scripture, and I'm like, mercy goodness alive, we're doing a lot of things in contrary to what the Scripture says. So, I mean, that's how I'd approach that, Ethan. So I'm going to take a minute, and has anybody got any questions or anything they want?
That one asked about the evening.
Oh, yes. See, that's why it's good to have you keep an eye on this stuff. I mean well, but I done forgot that like 2 seconds. You're welcome, brother. I hope that's a help to you. So 504 asked, I thought that the day started in evening and ran to morning. If you look throughout the page of scripture, and now guys, like, I'm gonna bring this up on a live. Okay, so if for anybody that's keeping Sabbath by dawn after conjunction, it would be today. If you're doing first visible crescent, would be tomorrow, based on what I've been observing. Because guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said in that one live video about going to first visible crescent, but I'm telling you, my heart is just still stuck with dawn after conjunction, because I looked with Matt, and I'm going to get back to the day starting at dawn, but when I looked at it with Matt, me and him both talked about it, is that right now, if you look at Noah's day, I think the months were perfectly 30. And I could be wrong with that. But when you look past that point, and you have, the time going back on the sundial with Hezekiah, you have the day that the sun and moon stood still for Joshua. It just seems to me that if you follow dawn after conjunction, you always know that on yeah, Russell, I'm right there with you. I can't move past it. I keep coming back to dawn after conjunction. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, the full moon, new moon thing, don't bring that to my doorstep. Ain't nobody bring that to my doorstep, because ain't nobody got time for that. You can't tell me something's new when it's been lit up for 15 days. I just can't go there. I love you, and I love all the full moon keepers out there, but I can't go there no more now. I mean, I've studied this really hard for like the umpteenth time, and I'm checked out mentally. But now, dawn after conjunction, I just keep going back to that, and I'll tell you for why. It's because if I got knocked in the head, just like falling in the shower the other day, and I get up, when I go out there and see that first quarter, I know the following day's Sabbath. When I see the full moon, the next day is Sabbath. Well, if I keep in that repetition, and I also look at what Philo's writings was, which we went over, at the end of each week we see a phase ending, and it's pretty cut and dry that the next day is Sabbath. And Matt pointed this out to me, is that you can pay attention to when the month is ending with observation. I can, like David and Jonathan could have stood out in the field there in their time and looked at it and been like, hey, everybody, it's just join us. They could have looked out there and been like, hey, it looks like that's the last sliver of the moon. I think we're going into new moon. And yes, and the moon, do we feel like it gives off the light? I believe the moon is its own bioluminescent source. Look, guys, there's pictures of stars in the moon. Like, here's the moon, right? And this portion's lit up right now, right? So it's, just first quarter phase. And yet there's stars in the area where the moon's at. Literally, that right there is inside the moon itself. I believe it's bioluminescent, just like a lighthouse projecting its own light, coming around, restarting, coming around, restarting. And I say that because that you can see through it. If it wasn't the fact that I could see stars through it, I'd kind of still be on the fence. But Leland Jones videos I have not got to view that individual's videos on YouTube. But guys, I want to pause and go back to the person that asked about the day starting at dawn, because I want to do a full presentation on this. I don't like just touch and go on this stuff. That's why I always like to just wait and do. I'll tell you in a second. Bioluminescent is that if you look throughout Scripture, the day always starts at dawn and ends at dusk. All ancient cultures had had some means of tracking the sun and sundials. When Hezekiah, in his day, the sun went backwards in the hand. That was during, that's how they counted a day off. You go back and you look at how, like, Messiah, I think it was a point in time where Messiah prayed, and it was before the dawn rose, before the day began. I think it also talks about in his resurrection where the ladies came before the day began, and they were going to anoint his body. Like, look, this day starting in darkness thing goes back to Babylon. A lot of stuff get twisted up, and it's like this is like what I brought up to the full moon keepers. Is that whenever the moon is already full, all right, it's in the middle of the month, right? It's already got light on it. Now the sun, if we're going to say that we start the day then the day starts when the sun starts to rise, it comes to its fullness in its head, and then it goes dark. If we look at the moon in the same principle, it starts in darkness. It begins its light up process, then it goes back to darkness. And so, when I look at that, and then I look at Scripture, and, Hanukkah tells us, the book of Hanukkah plainly says when the moon is empty, void of her light, that's the end of the month. All we have as believers left to really have to figure out this time and day, okay, just like with Philo, is that all we have to figure out is it first visible crescent or dawn after conjunction? And it always seems to me, the more I've studied this, the more I keep going back to it, I just keep leaning on dawn after conjunction. I know I said, I wanted to follow the first visible crescent after, that last live video was talking about the moon. But I keep observation of this stuff, and it just keep coming back to the dawn after conjunction. So, anyway, any other questions anybody's got today? Miss Nikki, you want to share anything? It's question time.
You should stick to your day job.
No. I like the Price is Right music. I always enjoyed the Price is Right. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to be talking about game shows on Sabbath, but I just always enjoyed it. Matt, I was just talking about you, brother. You've got to watch the first of the video. I was just talking about you. And I'm going to be studying on those pillars today. Because, brother, I finally got home. Oh, my goodness. After me and you sat and talked, I got on the road, and we drove straight to the Grand Canyon. And then from the Grand Canyon, we what did we do after that? We
spent like all day at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, Brian got this pass. Hang on, Cindy, I'll tell you all about it. Brian got this pass from the park to go into places that normal people don't even get to go, and they let us drive there. And Russell, I don't know if Rob Skeeb is going to go Lunar Sabbath, but the conversation in the car the other day when I talked to Joel was that he is open to debate it now, and Joel is actually writing him a letter and was sending him a donation to his ministry and was wanting to debate it. Now, Joel's hard. He wasn't going to do it to just be spiteful. I mean, he's going to do it for the benefit that, hopefully Rob would, study it further. And so I honestly think Rob Skeeb is going to go Lunar Sabbath. I think that's going to happen this year. I think it's going to happen very soon. That's right, Matt. Rob didn't scoff it off. Rob has a good heart. Let me tell you guys, if Rob Skeeb don't make it in the kingdom, do not look for Lucas, okay? Because I think that man has a heart of gold. And y'all know I'm a sinner. I'll be the first to tell you I'm unworthy. But I see Rob's spirit. He has a spirit for the master. And I know he's a Gentile convert like myself, but I see that burn in him. Okay, Miranda. The thing the thing that can be the most helpful to you right now. Okay, leaving the Saturday Sabbath thing behind. Father, forgive me for talking about the pagan days a week. The best thing to do is go to worldslastchance.com and download their calendar app, because it will help you start following the phases of the moon, and the lunar scriptural calendar, lunisolar scriptural calendar, so that you can. And there's a lot of article information in there with that too, and that's the first step I would take today. Feel free to email me. I'll answer any questions you can along the way. But it seems to me that one of the other things that was on my mind. That it seems to me something that Matt pointed out to me, and this is why we always need to spend time with fellow believers, because Matt said to me, just grace them. A lot of people are not in the same point in location in faith and belief as the rest of us. There comes a point where everybody that you just have to grace them. They're getting there. And I think that is a wonderful, wonderful thing, because what Matt said, because I needed grace to many a time. I feel so ashamed above all things about the flat earth. I can't believe, as smart as I like to think that I am when it comes to technological things. I mean, we go and literally take people completely independent off grid. And I've always tinkered in electrical and built things and repaired things and worked in factory and repaired things and just all this technical skill I have in front of me. It's fine, Miranda. I hope it's a help to you. And that's the thing. Just be patient with it.
Thank you.
And you know I didn't see that. And I wonder at times, and I don't want to speak anything against the master, but I wonder at times if the Most High lets us remain ignorant for our benefit at the time. Because I think that had I come to the knowledge of the truth of certain things at a different point in my life earlier, it could have been devastating. I mean, like, who knows, I might have walked away from it. Not that I intentionally would have, but because I was so deeply lost in lies that it would have been hard to see the light for the trees. What was it? Somebody asked about California. How was the trip or something?
How was the trip?
Guys, I enjoyed the trip. My overall assessment of California is it is a beautiful place. It's rare to see such an amazing forest, and you drive right out of the forest, and there you are at the ocean. Well, dawn after conjunction is what we were talking about. Yeah, that to go by, and so tell you a second where I was going with this. The people though, the people of California, it seems to me, the Latino population, they work hard. They put in an extra amount to make a difference. And excuse me, there is a lot of mixed multitude there. The half the population, I would consider liberal, very liberal, and ungodly. But Shawnee, I'll get that in just a second. But there is a lot of good people there held out. And believe it or
There's
not,
more people there that are like us than you actually really know. I mean, that they do really well to hide it.
yeah, and very Torah I mean, there's some Torah observant people out there too. I mean, like literally.
I just cut that off.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I hope everybody's still there. The phone cut out for a second. Anyway, California to me, it's just it's a different world. It's a different world, but there's a lot of good people out there, and and the world is Babylon. The whole world's Babylon, and America to me seems to me like it's second Egypt for the house of Israel. It seems to me that it is, not only America to me is three things. It's the it's the flagship for the world. It's Babylon. I mean, like, America is literally like the poster child of Babylon. It is the second beast of Revelation, which forces all the world to worship the first beast, and then lastly, it's second Egypt for the house of Israel. I see so many true Hebrew Israelites being mistreated in this country. And I'm not pandering or whatever it is. I don't want to sound like a politician trying to pander to my constituents to vote for me. I mean, I'm just calling this out like I see it. You don't see that many white folk or Chinese or Hispanic getting gunned down on the street. But yet I see tons of the seed of Abraham being mistreated, hauled off jail, shot in the street. And then, I see a lot of this stuff going on in America that I've become a lot more observant of. And y'all know I don't hate nobody. Believe me. Matter of fact, I'm trying to work on this policy with people, because when I tell people I love them, I love them. And when I tell people I hate them, I hate them. There's like no middle ground, and color has nothing to do with that. It's just the heart of people. Hey, brother from Brazil. And
but you're going to fix that, right?
Yes, ma'am. Nikki's been on me about doing better about that situation. I'm trying to work on that. Like I said, guys, I'm a sinner. Pray for me. I want to be perfect. And but when you look at America, the things that go on in America, if you say that you don't see something like when the Hebrew Israelite community, when I say Hebrew Israelite, I'm talking about the black community, when their own people say that they have problems with their own people, and that there's more of them killing themselves than anything else going on, I mean, that shows you that there's an issue. Okay, the Deuteronomy 28 is in full effect. When you see Babylon, you see cops out of hand. Now they're killing everybody anymore, and I'm not anti-cop. I'm just saying, man, people's gotten clean out of hand. When cops are having to arrest their own police force anymore, it's pretty bad. And so when we see, these Hebrew Israelites getting murdered on the street, and when we see all these abominations that's being worked, you cannot help but perk up your ears and be like, what the world's going on out here? And then when I seen on the way home, Nikki sent me this. I love all you guys out there that I talk to all the time, and I love my wife. It blows my mind the stuff y'all send me. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. Yesterday, you sent me that about that pastor, didn't you? You sent me that about that United Methodist pastor, the transgender thing, didn't you?
I think it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one come from you across the messenger thing the other day. When I seen that the other day, yeah, here it is. Let me spin this around so that everybody can see this. I don't know. Let me back this up. I don't know if I can back it up for
that's too bad.
Yeah, well, anyway, here is the... Oh, almost got a winner. Almost got it. I'm trying to get it to... This is terrible. I feel so pathetic.
See it.
The article. It says on the article, the United Methodist Church has... what does it say? I can't read the last words of it.
It says the United Methodist Church has appointed a transgender deacon.
Oh, deacon. I'm sorry, guys. I lied. I said it was pastor.
But
Forgive me.
The picture.
But anyway, yeah.
The guy or girl, I don't even know which gender they are.
And so, my point in case is now if you think that, yeah, it is sad, Russell. I agree. And is it a sin to do good on the Sabbath? No, absolutely not. I mean, I think that now that teeters on that line, though. I get that call often from family that the ox is in the ditch. That ox needs to die. Okay?
I think that's something that you need to touch on because we get that all the time. The ox is in the ditch. The ox isn't what you make it. People take that verse and they go full bore, well, I need to go wash my car. The ox is in the ditch. I want it to look good for something I'm doing tomorrow. Nope, sorry. Is your life in danger? Is your house going to burn down? Or you going to die? Is your family going to die? That's something that's, the ox is in the ditch, not something you're going to make it. Oh, I need to go eat today. No, sorry. That is not an ox in the ditch.
Yeah, and that's really good. That is a good point to bring up, Nikki. Is the thing with it that I've ran into is I have a good leg to stand on now. Is because, and I don't want to make this about me. I'm just giving this as advice to folks. Is for those of you who have not left out of Babylon yet or are leaving out of Babylon, I would hope that when you did keep SUN Day Sabbath or you kept SAT Day Sabbath that you honored it. Now, I'm not encouraging you to do sin and paganism, right? What I'm getting at, hold on the healthcare worker. I'll get back to that in just a second. Give me just a second on that. Is that if you kept that Sabbath, right? Then whenever. Yeah, well, now, the Sabbath made for man or man for the Sabbath? The Sabbath is a sign of loyalty, folks. Now, I mean, we can't bounce around that. It says to remember. That's in the Ten Commandments. I'm just calling that out as it is. The situation that occurs is when you leave Babylon, I was able to stand up in my church as a deacon and tell them, look, if this SUN Day is Sabbath, then why are you all going? And I called all of them out, even elders on this. I feel good inside about this, Is I told them, I said, if you're going to buy and sell, why are y'all going out after church and you're eating and you're buying, selling and you're working and you're traveling and you're making people do things? Why y'all doing that? If this is Sabbath, we need to honor it. Okay.
Even if you keep it on Sunday.
Right.
Or,
Yeah, and so when some family asked me recently, said, I need your wife to do this for me. I need you to do this for me. Blah blah blah. And we were like, whoa. What day is it you wanting that done? No, that's Sabbath. Well, the ox is in the ditch. No, you created that ox. That ox needs to die. It needs to spontaneously oxly combust. That thing's got to go. And I called them out on it, and I said, you all remember the day that I stood up in the church, and I said that to the whole assembly. I said, you do not need to do X, Y, and Z anymore if this day's holy. And they completely went silent. And so that's what I'm telling you guys. If
Well,
you,
they kind of left the subject alone,
yeah,
and then, which is a good thing that we're teaching our son the right way, because they brought it up again when we weren't around, and our son just, didn't try to be disrespectful, but he went off on him. He's like, "No, you're not going to ask my mom to do that on Sabbath. You've already been told no, and that's the end of it." So.
yeah. And now somebody asked about a healthcare worker on Sabbath. Guys, people are going to be sick all the time. You have people drop, you got a situation there where that I forget who it was. It was Seventh-day Adventist, and I think they worked in healthcare. And the thing comes about is there's going to come a point where everybody needs help at some conjunction. They're sick, they're dying, they need an operation. But the question you have to ask yourself is, if I'm working every single Sabbath, is this right? Well, I think the answer to that's no. It's not right. I would work a night shift. There's so, like, if you still work in a profession that's out in Babylon today, there's a couple ways you can get around this stuff. You can work a commission job. You can, and that way the day that it's it's Sabbath, you don't have to be there. You can go and you can work a third shift job. I done that. It's a nightmare, but if you can get off work before the sun rises and get home, and start work that night after the sun's set, third shift pretty much keeps you out of hot water on Sabbath, even if it ends up on around that time frame. You can also work a part-time job, and at part-time jobs, work a couple part-time jobs. And the good thing about that is part-time jobs are always lenient about, hey, I work another job. Well, okay, all you have to do is just leave in I had to go back to that. Whoever just commented that, you'll have to re-comment that. I don't know. I have to reread it.
The comment went away too fast.
Yeah. Anyway, if you work that part-time job, and then you tell them I can't be here X, Y, and Z, you go to the other part-time job and you tell them, hey, I can't be here X, Y, and Z, and just make sure that the Sabbath's always one of those X, Y, and Z days on both part-time jobs, and they're both oblivious to each other. You're golden. Every other set. Well, now see that there. I don't want to judge anybody. Okay, so the fact that he works every other Sabbath, it's not that he's trying to profane it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Messiah healed people on Sabbath. It's things like this I have the utmost respect and patience for. I'm not a healer. I mean, if there's one person that needs to be available more than anybody in the world on Sabbath that's healing, this world is sick and dying, spiritually and physically. So I just don't, I'm very patient of that, and I wouldn't judge anybody that is a medical professional for healing somebody or seeing somebody on the Sabbath. I don't. Messiah done it. I mean, if I was a health professional and I ended up having to help somebody on Sabbath that's in bad shape, and I die and I stand in judgment one day, when I prostrate face down in judgment one day out of respect for the Most High, I'll answer from before His feet, Master, I worked that day because one of your creation was in deep need of healing, and I helped him. That would be my thing that I would say in the court of the Most High. So, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, sis. Well, yeah, that's a wonderful thing in Scott
so
going
even
there.
when he's at work, he's trying to keep it the best he can.
Well, people's going to always be sick. I'm going to tell you. It's just like I think Messiah said, the poor and needy will always be with you, even to the end. Actually, I think that it says in the Torah itself, and somewhere in Deuteronomy, Leviticus, I think it says, the poor and needy will always be in the land, and, of course, the tithe and things like that were put back to sustain them. So, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry when even the Scripture says these things are going to be existent. Pretty much making you aware of it. It's like signpost, hey, this is going down. But just real quick, you got anything you want to share? Just cut in if you do. The only other thing I got on my mind. Well, now when he said the only sign would be given to them, you got to remember he was giving that to the Hebrew Israelites in his time, and the sign of Jonah. Everybody thinks the sign of Jonah was the 3 days, 3 nights thing, and that just, that gets sketchy fast because the sign of Jonah was the 40 days. Nineveh was Loudon 10. Yeah, James, we're really close to Loudon 10, brother. I'd be glad to fellowship with you sometime. The sign of Jonah, if you look at it, 40 years later, Jerusalem was destroyed after Messiah was risen. So you have a day for a year, just like the wilderness experience with the Israelites. So, people miss that with the sign of Jonah. And that's agreed, Matt. I agree with you. 3 days started in Gethsemane too, because he started bleeding and dying right then. Death started in Gethsemane, if you look at it. Shawnee, I'm so sorry, honey. Yeah. People think that this whole deal about America being Israel. America is not Israel, folks. America is Babylon. Okay, well, it's second Egypt, second beast of Revelation, and I just label it second Egypt. I think you also find that a lot of Hebrew Israelites will concur with that doctrinal stance too. And the second Egypt thing's just a byword, but honestly, it is the second beast of Revelation. But it is not Israel, okay? America is not Israel in any shape or form. This is a whole. I actually could add a few profane words to it of what this place is. And it's not that... Listen, guys, I know I'm an American. I don't have an American flag. Usually I have an American flag shirt on today.
You're Germany.
Yeah, I'm on my Berlin, Germany shirt today. Got the red star today. But, we live in America, but when my tiny house is moved for my family, the flag that is going to be raised up on the pole on that land is that blue and white flag y'all seen in the wall before on my videos that has the Most High's name on it. That's the only sovereign nation that I pledge loyalty to anymore. America, I just live here. Okay, I'm just stuck here. I am a human being born in a Babylonianish culture, and I love my fellow Americans. I love all the people in the world. So a flag doesn't define my love, but a flag does define my loyalty, and the Most High Yahuwah is my loyalty. I just live here in America anymore. That's where I'm at with that. Does anybody got anything else, guys? I think I'm gonna wrap that up. Guys, the flag.
That's a video from what,
it's a long
year or so ago.
A year or so ago.
We don't have the flag anymore. We gave it to some people in Germany for them to have. Yeah. We got to get another one made soon, but
right there, Russell's testimony. I hate these comments don't stay after the live feed goes. I've got to figure out somehow to get them to stay. But something that has occurred to me is that I find that anybody that's a believer in the Most High that has left Babylon, is that if they go into business for themselves, I see that they not only get peace of mind, but they prosper. On your cell phone. Okay, guys, if anybody's called me and I've missed you, I apologize. I'm not ignoring it.
Good service.
Oh my goodness. I listen, I cannot overly state how bad. Like that hotel we stayed at, it even says, Ethan, you can contact me at 7trumpetsprepper@gmail.com. I cannot tell you how bad it was, the service. The hotel was phenomenal. But we looked at the review thing on the hotel and it said the only thing people complain about is internet service. But you get a lot of people just complain. That's all they can do is just find something to complain about. But boy, when we got out there, we were like, wow.
Well, where we were at, we were way up in the mountains 95% of the time. So not even when we had Wi-Fi at the hotel, which was sucky, there was sometimes we had no service, let alone signal to try to, and if we did have signal, it wasn't strong enough to make a phone call. So for about 2 weeks, we've been pretty much just, no cell service, no nothing, and we didn't have a computer with us. So we got a lot of time to talk and reflect and everything else.
Today I showed Nikki the emails. It's crazy too, because it's almost like the devil's trying to hinder us from contacting everybody, because when we came home, our internet's tore up here at home. That's great, Shawnee, because I want Ron to come to Tabernacles, because guys, listen, give me about a week okay, to finally get my head settled back home, because we're done with construction for a while. We're taking a whole month off construction. We are going to do a video about the Feast of Tabernacles, and I probably am going to do a donation page, because we found a tent rental place or something that is very affordable. We'll come out and put up a huge tent with walls so that we can heat it for everyone, and that way the speakers can engage the public, and there's like plenty of room. There'd be like room for like 120 people seating, and
even more standing.
And just and
Hi, Shawnee.
so I figured that with that said and done, that would be great to accommodate everyone, and that way it wouldn't be cold. I'm still trying to figure out about a shower, because we found that the pilot in town offers showers for everyone, but I know a lot of people probably wouldn't want to leave the property each day to go do that, even though it's only like a mile or two away. So we're still trying to figure just a few last things out, guys, and then a week I should have a video up.
Stops us on the doing a shower here is that it's going to be in October, so it's going to be cold, and we're not going to have a way to heat it or to keep it's not going to be like freezing cold, I don't think, but that's our only thing. And when we did find out that you can buy shower cards, so it's not like you have to go and pay every day or something like that, and stuff like that. So you want a pencil?
I got it. I just wanted to write.
So we're still trying to figure out if anybody has any ideas on something we could do for a shower for people. Let us know. That's something that's not really expensive. We don't want to run up a cost on it.
Yeah, we won't. I mean, the event's free to everyone anyway. I'm
gonna go stinky all natural. Okay, Russell. Don't be hugging me if you're all stinky, okay?
Like day 3, we were stuck in the car for like 4 days. Oh my goodness, essence of man. Let me just tell you, me and the other guys, we were stinking time we got home the other day. So anyway, somebody wrote this comment, said, "Do you know?"
Yeah. Maybe
yeah,
so,
that's
Jennifer.
true. That's true. We do live a crazy wild life. Bonded. Somebody said, "Yeah, do you know we're all bonded slaves?" Ladies and gentlemen, this is where that I cannot hammer it enough that we are all slaves. You got to take this color thing out of the equation. All right, we are all human beings. And with that said, the elite, the so-called elite, they have got, the entertainment industry, they've got the media industry, they've got the fuels industry, the food industry. I mean, they have all this mess pretty much on lockdown, and we are all just bonded slaves. When you are born, you are giving a birth certificate, and I forget who it was that was teaching me on this recently, and I was trying to listen to them. Or when I say listen to, I mean like absorb this information in, because I've got to sit and research this at some conjuncture, is that apparently that is a certificate of ownership by the government when you're given your numbers and everything. And the only real free path to getting away from that is called being a sovereign citizen. I've noticed that there's been headways been made here lately with the sovereign citizen thing, that people's been like not getting a driver's license or state tag anymore because they're a sovereign citizen thing and all this stuff. And it's great. I mean, it's great. But, like, here's the deal, guys. There's going to come a time when you've got to butt heads with Uncle Sam. I don't want to do that until I absolutely have to, because when I have to, it's going to get real. Okay? But I don't want to go stirring up trouble right now, because there's still exit strategies. For us, it's, hey, we can't have a tiny house in our county. We'll just go a county over. And then when I go to county over, can I have water? Well, yeah, and water's on my land. Praise the Most High Yah. Then I can do my own power. I don't have to hook to electric company. So, there's still pockets of resistance to Babylon that you people can find. Guys, if I was wealthy, I tell y'all, I mean, people all the time like, look, if you say if you had all this money, you'd build a community for everybody. I would. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I'm really serious when I tell you stuff. Like I've said before, if I tell people I love them, I love them. If I tell people I hate your guts, I really hate them. I mean, like, I'm very straightforward, but I'm working on it, and I'm really
gonna do better.
I'm really trying to be straightforward with people. But if I was a multimillionaire, I'd buy a piece of land. I'd tell people all you gotta do is observe the Torah, be good to one another, and let's all live on this thing together. But we're gonna have to keep it real. Everybody have to have a tiny house and live sustainable and things like that. But it just hurts my heart that we are all slaves, and many of us, even to our observant, even those that are trying to walk the path, get back to the kingdom, they are not paying attention to the fact that we're all stuck in this thing together right now. Like it's why it kills me. Like me and Ron's talked about this, is that here's the Hebrew Israelites on street corner preaching hate speech when they need to be preaching that we're all a bunch of slaves right now, and look at the situation we're in, and all these things. Oh, Shane, that's great, brother. I'd be glad to see you out here at it. And buy back your own birth certificate. Also, how do you do that, Shawnee? I mean,
That's cool.
Because I'm ignorant to this. I'm trying to learn this. This is something new to me. I just work on. It's hard when we're in. Yeah, I know, Russell. Same here, man. Guys, I live in the flesh a lot of days, and I don't walk enough in the spirit. And I think it's because I'm always trying to use what I have available before me to beat the system. And I think we all have to stop in our tracks and admit to ourselves that physically we're not going to be able to beat this world. It's got to be through spirit. And this is why, guys, I tell you all the time that we need to sit at the feet of the elders, okay? This is why I tell you this, because I'm 32 and I feel as dumb as a brick some days, okay? That's why, like for tabernacles, I want Russell to speak. I want Lyndon to speak. I want elders to speak that are far older than me, and that have been in the Word a long time. The government is not there to protect us; it's there to police us. You're right, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about it, a government, say that like the Constitution. The Constitution really only states rights to us as a people that we already were given by the Most High. If you think about that, and that is that's the problem that people don't see. I appreciate that, Russell. I'm just trying to dig a little bit in the gold mine of truth every day, my brother. So I don't know where I'm at a point in life. Nikki tells me I'm in a midlife crisis right now. She says that's what's going on. Especially, I went in the Harley Davidson store the other day to get a T-shirt for somebody. Hey, Luke didn't take and want to go to the Harley Davidson store. They drugged me in there, and so I walked.
Drugged, you liar.
I did go willingly. Yes, and guys, I've had so many wrecks on a bicycle. I just want to have some humor with you for a minute. I literally one time wrecked on a bicycle so hard I should have been dead. Okay, I know that's not something to really laugh at, but you should have seen me get up and walk away from it. I staggered back to the house, and I got rocks hanging in flesh, and it was terrible.
Are you sure that's not one of those tales that were like, it was...
No, I've got the scars to prove it. Okay. It's on that right knee. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I got back on the bike, and I rode again. And anyway, when... I've never rode a bicycle or any, motorized two-wheel device pretty much ever since, except I got on a dirt bike with my buddies one day. And Nikki took me in that store, and I seen that motorcycle, and I was like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have that. And the bad thing about it is I'll probably end up hurting myself. I mean, I nearly killed myself the other day. Can y'all imagine on a motorcycle? I said all that.
We said you were gonna start you out with a scooter, like one of those little kid scooters. That way he can learn motorized.
Can y'all see me going to work on a scooter? Oh my goodness! But I think, when I said that, I get to the point with this is there's things that I constantly find myself going back in the flesh because I'm like, oh, I want that, and
yes,
four
Russell.
wheels is where I need to stay, brother. And I constantly find myself in the flesh wanting things of the flesh, and we need to be walking in the spirit. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying life and having good things in life. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just using that as an example. I know that motorcycle may probably cause me trouble in the end. But my flesh, when I walked in there and laid eyes on that motorcycle, I was like, oh, I want this. I need this. Somehow, somewhere in my little mind, I need this. And it's like, that leads to trouble. And I don't want to have one of those, that sci-fi series. I don't want to mention pagan stuff anymore, but the little green guy does have a good point. It's like, hate, or what is it? Fear leads to hate. And hate leads down the path of darkness, and it's also, you can equate that to lust of the fleshly things leads into trouble, and trouble leads to sin, and sin leads to a lost soul. And so we always just have to keep ourselves in check. But anyway, guys, it's been fun hanging out today. I'm so sorry I didn't get to visit with you last week. I'm going to go down the list of phone calls and emails today as soon as I get off this live.
Facebook messages.
Facebook message. Oh, my goodness.
Luke does not get on Facebook, so if you write Loud Cry Ministries or him on Facebook, it'll probably be a month or two. Or if for some chance I just get on there and I will take a picture and send it to you, Shawnee.
Yeah.
But yeah, so email is best for Luke because most of the time we don't have cell service either. And people are like, there's this one customer that keeps sending us things saying, hey, I've sent you all a message, 3 or 4 times. Send us an email. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. We're extremely busy.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're ignoring anybody. We just half the time don't have cell service.
Well, guys, when we went into doing off-grid construction, I'll just say this real quick before we end this video. When I went into doing off-grid construction, that I never thought ahead of time that
Shane wants you to FaceTime him in a minute.
Yeah, Shane, just give me about 10 minutes and then FaceTime me, bro. That's fine. I didn't think about the fact that we'd be out in the middle of nowhere when we started this business, and as it's starting to become more and more self-evident that we really didn't think that through because we just get stuck out in the middle of nowhere all the time. But with that said, guys, I love all of y'all to the dome and back, as my boy says to me, because obviously we can't go past the firmament, right? And so until we see you again here at Seven Terminals Prepper Channel, I hope you all have a most precious, blessed day in Yahushua name.